Great to see you. Welcome, whether you're a new volunteer or existing volunteer at GAIN and just want to refresh your knowledge, thank you for joining us at the first of our volunteer drop-in sessions, which is in response to feedback we've had from our volunteer network about getting more information on the volunteer opportunities regularly throughout the year. Welcome, and I just want to explain a little bit more about GAIN and volunteering in general. We can move to the next slide. So GAIN, as you know, we exist to improve and increase the number of young women applying to roles within the investment management industry. We're all about educating, inspiring, and empowering young women and non-binary individuals. So really, the school talk is very much the sort of introduction to the piece to our students. It's sort of normally the first time they meet GAIN. So it's a really important, crucial part of it. But just generally, the importance of volunteering for us is we couldn't do what we're doing without our volunteers. So we have over 2,000 volunteers registered now, and we've reached over 50,000 students. And the only way we're able to do that is through our volunteer network. So you are the ones that are delivering the content to the students, through events, through mentoring, through providing content generally on our website and social media. So thank you for that. It's been a really important part of our work. So just to flag at the start, so any questions, sometimes we get a lot of questions about what the requirements are for a volunteer. And just to be clear, as long as you're working in the investment industry, you're eligible to be a GAIN volunteer. You don't have to be working in an investment team. You don't have to be a woman or non-binary. You can be a man as well. We welcome all individuals, and it can be any level of seniority. So we have people in our network from the very beginning of their career up to sort of CEO, CIO level. So everybody's welcome. And the volunteering is a really key part of connecting students with people in the industry, and it's really inspirational for them to see individuals and talk about their career journey. And the school talk that's the initial introduction for them. So we're going to focus today on that piece because that's the one that we often get a lot of questions about. I'm going to introduce you to Tasha and Sharon. So Tasha leads our education partnerships team, and Sharon supports with Tasha works specifically on the schools piece as well. So they're going to tell you a bit more about it. If you want to ask any questions, as Francesca mentioned, please just add that to the chat and we'll get to those at the end. But yeah, look, any questions, just generally do reach out to any of us. I think we've got the contacts there on the screen, and maybe on the end slide as well. But yeah, over to you, Tasha.
Great, thank you so much, and thank you everybody for joining us today. It's really great to see you all. Before we go into the details of what each volunteering opportunity looks like at the school level, we wanted to give a bit of context, a bit of background about the schools that we currently work with and the outreach, so you're aware of what kind of things that we do at the school level. So this is sort of an overview of our outreach to schools so far this year. So this is just for 2024. So we've already worked with 99 schools. That number has probably changed because we do events really regularly and as schools are coming back. And that's through a variety of different things. So that's our talks, it's fairs, it's insight days, and it's our investment challenge as well. So we do get a lot of requests. We are talking to schools daily who are interested in arranging events. So there's plenty more to come over the next few months. And already we have 29 requests for volunteer events at the school level just for the autumn term alone. And we're already beginning to talk about 2025 as well. So there is a lot of different things you can get involved with. So just so you're aware of the areas, we do actually work with schools in every region of England as of 2023, including sort of the Channel Islands, right the way up to the sort of north of the country. As you can see, the bulk of our partnerships are in sort of London and the southeast. That's when we started naturally growing sort of in London and the southeast, and we're since expanding out. And we're doing a lot of work at the moment to try and reach more schools in different parts of the country. So we've been working quite a lot on sort of the Yorkshire and Humber piece over the last year, and we'll be looking to expand that to more sort of Midlands and the West as well. So no matter where you are based, we do work with schools in sort of all regions, in all areas. And we're really keen to do more outside of London and the Southeast as well as continuing to build on what we've done already. So for the type of schools, we do work with all different kinds of schools. It's not one particular one. So we work in both the private independent sector as well as with state schools. And there's a real variety as well of schools that we work with within that. We also work with sixth form colleges, with independent sort of colleges and things like that as well. Overall, our sort of state private split is about 80% state schools and 20% sort of private schools. When we look at talks, careers fairs and insight days, it's more 50-50 when we include the challenge in that, because we do have more independent schools that take part. But just so you're aware, there is a real variety of schools that we work with in different communities and students with different backgrounds. So our goals for the future. So ultimately, we want to continue the work that Gain's been doing over the last few years, reaching as many students as we can, reaching as many girls, as many non-binary students in schools across the country to raise awareness of what this industry is, why it's a fantastic job, and how they can get involved, hopefully inspire them to enter this or consider this as a career that we then see them years down the line joining our internship program, maybe joining the industry and becoming a volunteer themselves, quite a few years down the line. So our growth plans for the next few years is increasing state school partnerships, especially in the investment challenge. We want to expand further outside of London and the South East. So not to take away from London and the South East, we'll still continue to work in those areas. There's a lot of schools we've not yet reached. We want to kind of continue to grow. And as the team and the organisation and the volunteer network grows, we want to reach more schools in sort of different parts of the country. And then ultimately by 2029, our sort of 10-year anniversary, we want to be reached 10% of schools in England and Wales. So we're currently about 3.5% of sort of the addressable market. So there's still a little way to go, but we are very confident that with more volunteers, more events, more schools that we're working with, we can reach that goal. But ultimately, we cannot do what we do without you. So as Tanya mentioned, we heavily rely on volunteers to deliver the content, and we really appreciate all the support. So the more you can get involved with, the better. But even if you can only support one talk a year, that's amazing. That's one more talk that we can deliver. That's, however many more students that can hear about this industry and learn from your experience. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail about the different opportunities. So there's three main things that you can get involved with. So that's talks, careers fairs, and then mentoring and investment challenge as well. But just wanted to kind of share, this is one of the quotes that we've had from a school who had a talk early this year and about the impact that had on the students. So the impact you can have in less than an hour is quite substantial. So I'll just leave that for a second before we move on. Great. So to begin with, we want to focus on school talks. So this, as Tanya mentioned, is the sort of initial way that students learn about the industry. They probably, or maybe, have never heard the phrase investment management before. They think finance, they think banking or accountancy. So this is that first introduction to the industry. And to do this, there's very little that you actually need to do and prepare. We do manage the majority of it. So we'll arrange the talk with the school, we'll finalise all the details, dates, times, all that sort of admin stuff. We'll put the requests out in our sort of newsletter, and if you're interested, do let us know and we can then introduce you to the school. And then you don't have to spend hours preparing a session or a lesson plan or anything like that either. We will provide all of those resources to you. So we have a school talk presentation with a slide deck, we have speaker notes, so you know exactly what it is that you need to say. All we ask is that you add in one slide with your personal bio, your own experiences. We also have additional resources as well. So if you want to take this talk to the next level, we have things like a student workbook and guidance documents you can share with the students after your talk as well. The school talks last, it does vary slightly depending on the school. However, the talk itself is about 25 minutes plus another 10 to 15 minutes for Q&A. So it can all be done sort of within an hour period. Some schools prefer shorter talks or slightly longer depending on the session. But again, we will let you know all of that information before you go in. And then in terms of students, we have a wide range of numbers in terms of student outreach. So some schools prefer smaller talks, maybe 20 to 30 students in just one class. Some prefer to do a whole year group or even a whole school assembly we have done before. So there really is a variety. So if you've not done it before and you'd rather a smaller group, we can look to match you to a school where it's a smaller class. Or if you're very happy to go in and talk to 100 students at a time, we've got a lot of those opportunities as well. And it's just worth flagging when you're doing school talks, you'll never be left alone with the students either. There'll always be a teacher, a member of staff, so you're not expected to, manage behaviour or, get them to quiet down at the beginning or anything like that. So you'll always be supported by the school staff as well. So the next opportunity you can get involved with are careers fairs. So these are a little bit different than school talks because you're having more one-to-one conversations with students. So careers fairs, you'll be on a stand, you'll be on a table with lots of other organisations and employers in the room as well. And students will go around and talk to each employer to try and find a little bit more about the different career opportunities and different paths available to them. So it's very introductory questions about what you do, what does it actually mean, sort of what's your day-to-day life look like. And again, we provide lots of support in advance of this. So we have a guidance document we share with lots of talking points. We share common questions that we get from students so you can know what kind of things they'll be asking you. And we can provide flyer and resources as well if you did want to print something off. If you have a banner for your company or freebies, you're more than welcome to take them, but it is not compulsory at all. Students kind of just want to learn a bit more about the industry. In terms of the length, they are a little bit longer than school talks in most cases. So schools will often have a careers fair over the space of an afternoon or an evening or sometimes full day as well. So we do know it's a bit of a bigger time commitment. However, if you can't get a full day off, because we understand that can be tricky, and you can only attend for maybe an hour or two, a lot of schools are really open to that as well. So if you are interested in a fair but can't commit to the full day, please do get in touch and let us know, because we could arrange for you just to do an hour or two at the event. No school has ever turned that down. And also just to say that careers fairs can be quite good to do as a team. So if you had a few colleagues that wanted to come along and you could each do an hour throughout the day to split it up a little bit, that also works really well as sort of a team volunteering opportunity. And in terms of number of students, again, it does really vary. Fairs will often be for maybe 2 or 3 year groups for the whole school, and it's usually sort of staggered. They come throughout the day. But again, we'll let you know all of that information before you go into the school. And then finally, the final opportunity for volunteering at the school level is mentoring. So this is for our annual investment challenge. So our investment challenge we run in the spring term is effectively a stock pitch competition where students work in small teams. They learn how to analyse a company. They analyse a company over the course of a couple of months and develop a stock pitch, deciding would they invest in that company or not if they were an investor. So we deliver all the online training to students. We run the sessions. And what we need mentors for is to be that additional source of support. So each mentor is assigned to a school and you offer guidance on things like explaining terminology, pointing them in the right direction for research and resources they could use, and often reviewing their first draft of their stock pitch. So it's just that extra sort of bit of guidance, industry expertise that you can share with them. But we provide lots of training and support in advance. So we do have a training session. We have a guidance document with all the sort of key information you need, ideas for how to structure sessions, common questions you'll get from students, things like that. And we deliver it all through an online platform called Mentor Leap as well to make it really easy to interact with the students. The commitment for mentoring is just sort of 2 to 3 1-hour sessions throughout the spring term. So this competition runs through sort of mid-January to the end of March. It's quite flexible though, so you will work with the school to decide when and where you do those sessions. So it fits around your schedule and you can kind of work to see when is best, for mentoring with the students. Sometimes students prefer just to have written feedback and send you the draft and, have it like that. So it doesn't necessarily all need to be, in person. We do encourage sort of 2 to 3 sessions throughout that period. And then where it happens, it's either online or in person. So majority is online, but depending on which school you're matched to, if it's half an hour down the road, we would encourage you to go in for at least one of the sessions. But it might be a little bit further afield, in which case you're more than welcome to do it online. And in terms of how many students we mentor, we assign 1 mentor per school, and each school can have up to 3 teams. So the maximum number of students you'd be mentoring is 15. The minimum would be 3. But again, we will let you know that information in advance. So that is all of the mentoring opportunities that we have. Hopefully that's inspired you to want to sign up and get involved in some of them. So the key information of how to actually sign up. So if you've not already, please do register for our volunteer newsletter, and we'll send all this information out in an email after this call. So our volunteer newsletter goes out every 2 weeks and will list all of the upcoming opportunities we have available. So you can have a look through, see if there's anything that you want to volunteer at, and then you can just follow the link in that email and register your interest. Or if you don't see anything in the newsletter, or the timings don't work, or you've got further questions, please just email us directly. So our email is education@gainuk.org. And if you let us know when you're available, sort of where your location is, if you've got any preferences for events, we can find an event for you and match you that way as well. So it really is flexible, because we understand sometimes the very specific timings might not work for you. So please do just get in touch if you want to volunteer, and we will find an opportunity for you. And then finally, we just wanted to use this time while we've got some sort of engaged volunteers on the call to sort of flag some current opportunities that are coming up, where we don't yet have volunteers. So these are all opportunities in the next sort of couple of months. So if you see any on there that are, jumping out at you, please do get in touch. We still need volunteers for all of them. There is a bit of a variety of talks, speed networking, careers fairs, things like that. So anything on there that you might want to get involved with, just let us know. And then finally, we just wanted to flag, because we do understand that not everybody can volunteer at short notice within the next month. So if you have to book things in 6 months in advance, that's fine as well. Just let us know. March is a particularly busy time of year for us, because it's both National Careers Week and International Women's Day within the same week. So as you can imagine, we get a lot of requests from schools during this period for support, for events, for talks, for fairs. So if you wanted to kind of plan ahead a little bit further, do pencil March into your diaries and let us know if you're interested, because we could definitely put you down and get in touch closer to the time with the events that are coming up. But also, even if it's not March, but it's a few months ahead and you want to hold a certain day for volunteering, just let us know if you can share that with us, and we can find an opportunity that suits you at the right time. So that's everything from us. I'm just going to hand back to Tanya, and then I think we will do questions. So if you do have any questions, do pop them in the chat and we'll come to those in a minute.
Great. Thank you very much, Tasha. I think what we want to get across today is that, how important the schools piece is. And obviously we're working with students aged 16 all the way through school, through university, and, culminating in the internship program, and then becoming alumni when they join the industry. But the schools piece is so key, because it's all about breaking down misconceptions about a career in finance more broadly, but specifically making them aware of a career in investment management, which frankly, most of them are completely unaware of. So, they may know about investment banking and corporate banking, retail banking, but and they may know about accountancy, but that is sort of the limit of their understanding. So to give them a perspective that there is another opportunity out there for them, and that finance actually is an exciting opportunity, is something that we really, really do see. And the earlier we can get that message is great, because then once they're in the loop, then they know about GAIN, and we know the support they can get from us through the next few years. Then we start to see some real changes in terms of the number of women applying. So what they do essentially after they've become aware of us via the School Talk is, they're in the same way as there's a volunteer newsletter, there is a student newsletter which they sign up for, and then they're aware of all the opportunities available to them throughout the years. So the schools piece is important for us, and as Tasha mentioned, the more we can get out across the country, across England and Wales, the more important it is, because the further away you get from London, generally, the less understanding there is of finance, investment management as a career option. So that is really, really crucial for us. So if you are based in London, but you maybe have family or whatever that you visit, maybe in other parts of the country, that you could maybe tack on a School Talk to, if you're going back for a weekend or whatever, then do let us know about that as well, because we do get a lot of demand for School Talks particularly. And sometimes it's really challenging for us to fill those talks, especially regionally. So any help that you can give us would be greatly appreciated. And please tell your friends as well, and get other people involved. Just looking at a couple of the questions, are you targeting England and Wales only? Would you look to extending your reach to Scotland? Good question. There is actually another organisation called Future Asset that are based in Scotland. And so we don't cover Scottish schools at all. So we work fairly closely with them. They do a very similar thing, but they just do Scottish schools. And then we basically pick it back up again. So we cover all the Scottish universities. So Future Asset will channel, their alumni into GAIN for the university programs that we offer. So it's just schools in England and Wales that we cover for the moment. Tasha, I will hand over the other question to you about organising a School Talk at Children's School.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, the question, interested in organising a school talk at children's school, are you able to share the slides to send them on? Yes, absolutely. We can share the slides and various resources after this call. And yes, please do reach out. I should have mentioned that if you do have any links to local schools in your area, whether that's children's schools or friends that work in schools, please do get in touch. If you want to deliver a talk there, reach out to them, loop us in, and we can still support you with the resources and things like that. That's a really great way to sort of get involved. We've got sort of schools brochure as well, so we can follow up with the school directly about other opportunities they can get involved with after the talk. Also to say, if you want to go back and talk at your old school, sort of as an alumni, that always is really popular with schools. Then it's really relatable for the students to see somebody that was literally sat in their sort of seats a few years ago. So if you want to do that as well, please do either reach out directly or let us know and we can reach out on your behalf. But yeah, we'll definitely send the school slides after, and it'd be great to get that happening.
Great. I don't think there's any more questions. This leads me to thank you all for coming, and do pass on the message. We've got a lot of volunteers, but the more we can get and the more engaged our current volunteers are, the better. So thank you very much in advance for all that you do. We couldn't do it all without you. Thank you.